If you got yourself a case of the flailing fingers, this FAQ is just for you. Well, hey there kids, and welcome to a brand new installment of FAQ, here with your good buddy, Uncle Ben. This week, my wonderful Patreon cult had some questions about getting the arm, hand, fingers under control, and I've got some awesome solutions for you guys, as well as some other fun stuff to talk about on this episode. If you want to get even more out of this video and get your questions answered on future installments of this series, I recommend checking out that Patreon page over at patreon.com/Ben Eller Guitars. It's the coolest place on the entire internet, and you're in for even just $1 a month, so don't delay, sign up today. Everybody that supports the channel is also going to get a super extended ad-free cut of this video with even more fun stuff in it and no pesky ads. So don't delay, sign up today. I'll see you over there. Gear-wise, I'm playing my adorable Suhr Modern White Tiger here through the Fractal Audio Axe FX 3. Now let's get into it. Our first question today comes from my man Greg, who asks, do you have any exciting exercises to fix my flailing, fretting hand fingers? Yeah, I do. So this is a problem that's plagued guitar players since Jesus was riding around on dinosaurs, but there is a solution, and I've helped tons of students out with this over the years, and I think it's going to make a big difference for you. So if you ever find yourself playing guitar and those left-hand fingers are just going crazy and they're on and off of the board like that and they're generating a lot of open string noise, you know, that can be a really big problem. Your playing will never really sound as clean as it can if you can't get those fingers under control. So like every guitar player, I struggled with this for a long time too, and I think it was my amazing guitar teacher, Benjamin Franklin, rest in peace, who showed me this trick, and it really made a huge difference because it kind of gamifies the entire process. So here's what we did in my lessons. We grabbed a music stand and we put it in front of me like this. Now, I didn't practice this way at home because when I started playing guitar, I was so poor, I didn't even have a music stand. So what I would do is sit in the doorway of my bedroom and sit really close to the door frame and do this. Really, you could just sit in front of anything. It doesn't have to be a music stand or whatever. But if you have one of these in your practice room, you might as well put it to use for something, right? I want you to put it really close to the left hand of your guitar, right? And at first what I want you to do is to set it so it's about, I don't know, 3 inches away from your fretting hand like that. And I want you to play through some exercises or scales or something. And I want you to think about this like playing the game of Operation. You remember that anxiety-inducing board game that we played when we were kids where you had to like pull the little pieces out and not touch the sides? That's what this is. I wish you could like rig this to a buzzer so it would like make a noise if you touched it or something. But just having that tactile sensation of your finger hitting a music stand is enough to set you off. So whenever you're practicing like this, I want you to think of it as the game of Operation. Don't touch the sides, or in our case, don't touch the stand. Try to play this thing without touching the music stand. It makes you concentrate on keeping those fingers really close to the board. You can start further out if you want to, if your fingers really fly off the board, and practice that way. Again, it's the game of Operation. Don't touch the thing, you know? And as you get more comfortable with that, you can scoot up a little bit more closely to see if you can keep those fingers reined in and not touch the music stand. It's really amazing what a difference it makes just having that physical prop in front of you and gamifying it like that. Don't touch the sides. It puts you in a different mindset, keeps you a lot more focused on keeping those fingers close to the board. All that being said, I want to play my own devil's advocate here and put out kind of a hot take. I don't really know how much all that efficiency matters at the end of the day, to a certain extent. Obviously, if your fingers are flying off the neck and making a lot of noise, that's kind of a problem, and practicing this way will help. But players get super obsessed about that maximum efficiency, I should look like I'm barely moving thing, and some players have it. Tom Quayle has the most efficient left hand of any player I've ever seen. But if you look at guys like let's say Guthrie Govan, probably the best guitar player that's ever lived, I've seen plenty of footage of that guy absolutely shredding, and dude, his little fingers like going crazy when he plays because he's a human being and this is a badly designed finger. He's not necessarily Mr. maximum efficiency, and it doesn't really seem to be that much of a problem for him. So I think as long as you're not making noise, a little bit of excessive finger movement isn't necessarily that bad of a thing. So don't get too obsessed going down that rabbit hole trying to be Mr. Efficiency. As long as it sounds good and as long as you're not like wearing yourself out, you're probably fine. Now let's talk about the old picking hand here with a question from my man Chuck. He says, I'm having trouble with picking technique with the more closed hand and where my fingers need to be. Very, very good question. And I gotta tell you, this is not a one-size-fits-all answer. About a year ago, I put out a video on my channel about how to fix the flailing fingers of the right hand. If you're one of those players that naturally plays kind of fanned out and you feel like you need to fix it, a great solution to that I learned from, I think it's at That Bass Guy on Instagram. Editing chair, Uncle Ben here. I blew that. It's at Massive Bass Nerd. Follow him over there. Was to just hold a pick with those fingers, you know? Hold your pick between your thumb and first finger, like usual, while holding a pick with your other ones. That way you kind of have something to occupy those fingers and make them stay curled into a fist like that. That being said, plenty of great players don't do that. George Lynch, man, he's always got the fingers fanned out. I think it's maybe Mark Morton from Lamb of God. Yeah, it's not Mark, it's Willie Adler, the other guy in the band. He plays with his fingers fanned out. He's a fabulous player. John Petrucci plays with his little finger wrapped around the pickup. That's something I noticed about his playing years ago. Part of why none of his guitars have pickup rings on them, because he wants this anchor point right here for the little finger. And again, that works great for him. The difference of approaches are vast. I mean, look at the way that Marty Friedman or George Benson plays or Zach Wild plays compared to what Joe Satriani's hands look like or Steve Vai's hands look like. I think if you go down that rabbit hole of comparing your own physicality to other players, it's just gonna be a losing battle. Everybody is built a little bit differently. Even if you're the same height as Joe Satriani, your hands are probably built a little bit different than his. Everybody's gonna approach this stuff different. As long as it's not holding you back, it's fine. I can speak from experience here because I've bugged Troy Grady from Cracking the Code for years now, being like, hey, I think I'm doing this picking thing wrong because when this guy does it, it looks like that. When this guy does it, it looks like that. And I don't look like either of them, you know? And he's been really blunt with me and just been like, dude, don't compare yourself to other players' physicality. As long as it feels smooth and it feels natural and it sounds good, you're doing it right. So don't necessarily be worried about copying what somebody else is doing. Everybody has their own different approach, and as long as it's not holding you back, you're gonna be fine. That might be a fun video topic sometime. Take the same like hot lick and play it with as many different, you know, picking hand positions as I can. Open finger, closed finger, anchored around the pickup, all kinds of different styles, just to show that it doesn't really matter, it can be done. It's worth noting too that with my own playing, I don't necessarily have a one-size-fits-all position for what I end up doing with those fingers. There's times that I can feel the tops of my fingers brushing up against the high strings, like if I'm playing something down low like this. Like as I was doing that right there, I could really feel the tops of the fingers kind of brushing the high strings, and that's fine. But whenever I get on the high strings, sometimes I just run out of room. There's nothing to rest on. And I can feel the top of my little finger kind of touch the body of the guitar. You might be able to see it from that position right there. Sometimes that happens whenever I'm tickling the tiny ropes up top. And then there's other licks that I play. Let's see. That I don't even feel my fingers touching the strings at all, except for the inside of the picking hand right here where I'm kind of anchoring on the unused strings, you know? So there's no such thing as a one-size-fits-all approach. Watch your favorite players. You'll probably see them moving between different positions slightly as they play through any tune. If it works, it works. Let's talk about something non-guitar related here with a question from my man Johan. He says, did you ever work any other jobs except being a musician? Now, I have made the majority of my dollar papers with a guitar in my hand, whether that be touring or doing session work, doing YouTube stuff, teaching for many years. But yeah, I did work several jobs on the way to making music my full-time profession. My first job was at good old Walmart, classic first job. I worked out in the lawn and garden department, which was pretty awesome. Honestly, if you're gonna get a job at Walmart, that's kind of the way to do it. Because during the summer, you get to be outside, like building stuff and, you know, loading mulch into people's cars. During the wintertime, it's Christmas season. I got to be inside and outside a lot, which was better than just, you know, standing at a cash register all day. So I actually liked that job quite a lot. Of course, that was like 20 something years ago. I don't know how much stuff has changed, so take that with a grain of salt. I think my least favorite job that I ever had was working at a catering service on Carson Newman campus in Jefferson City, Tennessee. That was just a miserable job. It was just the same thing every freaking day. The only difference between days was like, are we doing khakis or black pants today? That's the only difference. And every day it was the same thing. It was like serving salads and then trying to collect them off the people, and some 80-year-old guy with like half a cherry tomato would be like, no, I'm finishing that. And they'd just sit there the rest of the meal. It was so boring and so monotonous. It was just the same thing day in, day out. I hated that job. I also worked as a pizza delivery driver at Pizza Plus, which is kind of funny considering that I was born without a sense of direction. You can ask like Andy Wood or any of my musical buddies, they all know I am horrendous, but somehow I still got the job done. And that was before the days of Apple Maps and Google Maps and all that stuff. I don't really know how I did that. I also did a landscaping job, which I liked quite a lot. Just being outside and working in the dirt, it's not a bad thing. And I think that's about it. And there were times when I was leading up to doing music full-time that I was doing like full-time college classwork, plus working at the pizza place a few days, plus teaching guitar lessons, and sometimes even doing some of the landscaping jobs in the morning, and gigging and sometimes touring on the side as well. It took a long time before I could float everything off of just this operation, and that's just kind of how you have to do it. Well, that's how you have to do it if you don't have, you know, rich parents, which I don't. Whole lot of work, but I wouldn't have it any other way. Now let's take a little detour over to Uncle Ben's boombox, talk about what I've been jamming out to here lately. So here recently I discovered one of my favorite albums that I think that I will ever hear. Dead serious. Incredible. I'm obsessed with this album. And it's all thanks to my amazing patron, Connell Stacy. Sorry if I'm butchering that, dude. So I mentioned on the last episode of Fact You that I'd been listening to this band, Spotlights. I made a post about it over on the Patreon page, and Connell was like, dude, if you like them, you should check out The Spin by this band, Messa, M-E-S-S-A. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. They are Italian. Messa. I don't really know. Holy moly. I was obsessed like within 5 seconds. I was like, this is what I've been looking for my entire life. It's kind of like 80s goth with haunting female vocals. She kind of sounds like the singer of Cocteau Twins mixed with a little Susie and the Banshees. It's that sound plus really incredible sludgy doom metal riffs and amazing guitar solos. Oh my god, the solos are fantastic. Really unexpected. Amazing stuff. He has some really unorthodox licks, awesome chord progressions in the riffs, amazing slide playing. There's some slide playing on the record that is dope. It really makes me want to get serious about slide playing because the way this guy plays is phenomenal. And I even checked out some live videos and they sound just like the record live. Absolutely amazing. I've listened to the whole thing like 100 times already, and I just discovered it recently. It's only 7 songs long, and it's like every song that goes through the record introduces some kind of new, unexpected element into the sound. I'm seriously freaking obsessed. I've already sent it to like everybody that I know and begged them to listen to it because I just can't put it down. It's gonna be all that I listen to from like October through November. Spooky season. It's total spooky season music. I just want to have that on a dreary, cloudy, misty day outside. Carve a pumpkin, listen to that, drink some spiced rum and cider. That would be the best day ever. Put that record on. Let me know what you think about it down in the comments section. Be sure to give them a follow on Instagram. Tell them Uncle Ben sent you. And there you go, guys, another episode of Fact You. Thank you so much to my amazing Patreon community for submitting those questions. Be sure to join my cult over at patreon.com/Ben Eller Guitars. Maybe your questions will be answered on the next installment of this series. Thanks so much for watching. Be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell for notifications every time I upload a new slice of fried gold. And don't forget, guys, it's up to us to make this world a happier, cooler place. You never know how much a small act of kindness or generosity can go towards changing somebody's life. So if you find yourself in an opportunity to do something righteous this week for somebody, do it to it. Now let's get away from the computer machine. Go mash some rope. Let's click it. More picking.